Good morning, everybody. I'm Jennifer, and this is A Country Life, and I have so many outdoor projects that I want to get done today. Actually, first up, we are just going to stop at the hardware store and see if we can find a shepherd's hook. I'm looking for one of those tri-hook shepherd's hooks. I'm also looking for maybe some herbs and some more flowers, of course, and maybe vegetables. I'm not really sure. Sometimes something just like pops out at me or really catches my attention, and I'm like, yep, that's just exactly what I didn't know I needed. All right, good morning, everybody. Yesterday was a complete bust. All I did was get the stuff picked up at the hardware store. I didn't get anything else done on my list. Yeah, the day just took a big old change, and there were just so many other things that had to be done that my outside work didn't get done. Yep. So I have the kids pulling weeds in this like kind of rocky area along the house here. Sometimes later in the season, Warren will actually just bring some Roundup and he'll just, spray the weeds that are in the rocks. But anyway, I thought it would be a great chance for the kids to earn some money. So they are going to pull weeds from that rose bush to that rose bush. And I'm heading down to the garden, and what I'm going to do is gather up all of the spikes that we put the black weed guard fabric down with, because earlier this spring we had such horrible winds that there's some of my weed guard fabric. So the times when it isn't windy, it always seems like it's either late in the evening when everyone is sick and tired of doing outside work already, and I don't know, we haven't really had any other calm times than that. Today it's fairly calm. Let's look at the trees. Just a light breeze. So I'm going to start pulling up the stakes because the weed guard fabric just like ripped right out. Like there's a stake. It's going to be pretty easy because they'll be in rows. So I'm just going to go down the row and pull them and put them in here so that I can gather them all up, so that when we put down the weed guard fabric, we have all of our stakes. Okay, I thought this was going to be easy. I'm really not finding any. Okay, there's one. Okay. I feel like there should be some over here. Oh. Alright, well, this is not going as I thought it was going to go. I thought there was going to be just kind of a nice row of them. Well, here we go. Here's a couple. Ouch. Those are in pretty hard. There we go. Things are coming along down here in the garden. I just wanted to point out to all of you that if you grow dill and you don't do like a fall tilling, well, maybe even if you do a fall tilling, it probably still would come up. But dill just keeps coming up year after year. I guess I didn't necessarily know. Well, I guess I've always had a few volunteers, but now that I use the weed guard fabric, like everywhere where there was dill, I mean, here I just tried pulling this dill because I didn't want it here anymore, and this sadly I'm going to pull too. But look at how lush it comes back. So just so you know that if you kind of keep dill in one area, it will keep on seeding and coming back year after year. I guess that would be if you don't cut every single dill head. Like I don't cut every single head of dill, and so some of it goes to seed, and that would be why it just keeps on coming back. It just blows around and seeds anywhere that there's a little bit of soil exposed. Over this way, been pulling up weeds. The kids are coming with their buckets. How many?
1,001. 1,001.
Well,
that's 1,000.
Yep. Did you know that 1,000 is the same as 1,000? So 1,001 weeds, huh? Don't step on. That's the dill I'm saving right there. So these are all the weeds, huh? Peter, you're gonna have to step out of the sunlight.
Plus one green bean plant I found in the rocks.
Really?
Yep.
Peter, don't play with those wires, okay? Because we want those tight for when we put the tomatoes over there.
I can do it alone.
Well, I'd really like the two of you to work together. Otherwise, you might have to forfeit the pay. So, work together and do that other area all around. You know where we're talking, right, Maria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Peter hates picking weeds.
I know.
I like it.
I know, some people love it and some people hate it. I happen to be a lover of weeds. Not of the weeds, but pulling weeds.
Yeah. Mom, look at this one.
That one's huge.
Look at this one.
Wow.
Maria.
Is she the queen?
Oh.
Peter decided that he wanted to make some rhubarb slush today, so he's actually going to pull. I told him to pull the rhubarb half, right? So every single plant, he's going to try to pull it about halfway.
Look at this one.
That one's tiny, Maria, and that one's huge. And then he's going to, you're going to pull up the steamer juicer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm still working along in the garden here. I'm just pulling all of the weeds, all the big weeds that are coming out of each hole. So I've got a long way to go yet. I have this whole half. I would say I'm half done. Oh, am I the queen now? Thank you. Ah, you broke the fan.
Rhubarb war.
Now that I have just over half of the garden weeded, as far as the really big weeds, you can still see some over there. I'm going to take a break from that, and I'm going to grab Joe. I think he'll be good help, kind of untwisting all of this weed guard fabric, and then he can kind of hold and kneel on it while I put down the, hammer and the pegs. But before we get started on that, I'm just gonna kind of sit down here in the kind of the shade, and I want to give you guys a 3-year update on the weed guard fabric. 3-year update on the weed guard fabric. This would be my 3rd season. We're going into my 3rd season, so we haven't technically grown anything in it in its 3rd year. First year, put the weed guard fabric down, needed a lot more securers, like the pegs or the little spikes, needed way more than we thought we would need. If I remember correctly, between Warren and I think we went back 3 or 4 different times to different stores looking for different, they call them like landscape nails or landscape securers. I don't know exactly what they're called. Spikes. Anyway, we have a variety of them down there. We needed a lot more. Our weed guard fabric we bought from Fleet Farm. I don't remember the brand. I do link a fabric in the description box, which is from Amazon, and it's the one that, at least the description and the picture, when I like hover over it and make it all up close, it's the one that looks the most similar to what I purchased. So that first year, it was fabulous. I had to use a torch to actually burn the holes right where I wanted to have them, and it was beautiful. There was not a weed. I mean, I'm not kidding you when I say I probably had pulled 100 weeds throughout the entire summer. 10 here, a week later, 10, maybe not even 100. It was incredible. Then last year, there were a few more weeds. The weed guard fabric stayed down well over the winter. The spring winds did not blow it like it did this year. It did loosen it in a few areas, but it was no big deal. We just put in some stakes again, and it was good to go. And last year, there were a few more weeds. And the reason is because anywhere where you have an opening, at least in my soil, a weed is going to grow. And where those openings come from, obviously the first year I put holes in where I wanted all of my plants and or seeds to go. And then last year I wanted to rotate some crops. So I tried to put crops in. When I rotated, I tried to find an area that had similar sized or spaced openings, but that, that's just not perfect. I couldn't get it exact the way I wanted it. So I did have to burn some holes in different areas, which meant that I had some holes without any garden plants, and they grew weeds. So last year I did have to go through and pull some more weeds, but again, it was not a big deal. Now I'm coming off of not using weed guard, and in my area having weeds waist high, okay? That was just a normal occurrence if I even let it go.
Station alert has arrived.
A new station alert. I bet they're telling me it's going to be windy. So second year, really, really, really good still. Just a few more spots for weeds, but I anticipated that. This year, I'm still going with the fabric for this 3rd year, so I'm pretty sure after this 3rd growing season, I'm going to have to ditch this fabric and put down new fabric for next year. I've just noticed that it's a little bit more brittle this year, so when I am pulling a weed out from like an opening, last year I could pull that weed and the fabric didn't really rip around it. Now this year when I pull the weed, I'm noticing that it's kind of tearing a little bit of the fabric. So it's definitely getting brittle, and I would think that that's probably from the sun making it brittle. And then also, I mean, I'm gonna have to see what happens when we unfold all of this and just see what kind of shape it's in. But my guess is after this third growing season, I'm going to have to, you know, throw this away and put down new stuff. Of course, I'll keep you updated, and maybe I'll get a fourth year out of it. I mean, I'm not gonna rip it up if I don't have to, that is for sure. All right, checking the time, it says it's 11:30, which means I should go up and make some lunch. I'm sure the kids are getting hungry, so I'm just gonna leave it the way it is right now, and we will come back to that after lunch. What are we having for lunch, you might be wondering? We are going to have some leftover hamburgers that I made last night. Actually, Warren made them last night. And we have some leftover pizza. And I still have a little bit of leftover cabbage. All right, nope, not yet. We're gonna do this one. Put your foot right there. Put your foot right there. You got it?
Yeah.
Straighten this out. You go farther down. And let's grab it and try to straighten it out, okay? Grab that piece and try to straighten it out. Can you get that end over there? Right here? Here, give it to me over here. Another reason for more weeds in the second, and now I can tell in the third year, is that dirt does get on top of the weed guard fabric. So as you pull weeds, if you're not careful and you get a little spot of dirt on top, it only takes 1/8 of an inch for a seed to germinate, and then it can just send its roots down through the weed guard fabric. Keep going. Well done, Joe.
Well done, Jennifer.
Thank you. We had just enough stakes to get everything in place. I am going to have to go and look for a few more, because if I don't stake this down, that's just what's going to happen is the wind, like right now, no more pounding, or it'll maybe make a hole.
No more.
If I don't get this dealt with, the wind is going to catch underneath that and rip it out. So I am going to go up and look for some more stakes.
Yeah, like some metal.
And Joe, I see a couple stakes over there that need to be pounded down. Yep, looks good. You get that and I'll be back.
Okay.
Well, that was awesome. Score 1 for my mind, still working. I don't remember if I had to do any extra staking last year. But anyway, if I didn't, I remember from 2 years ago where I put the stakes, the leftovers. So that's a bonus. Because you know what? I'm going to be having a birthday coming up. And I'm turning an age. I'm sure most of you know what age that is that I'm turning. So anyway, it's a big one. And I'll just tell you, I've told Warren all along I'm going to live to 100. So basically, I'm just becoming middle-aged. Other than weeding like about that last third of the garden over there, we got it done. Joe, I think that looks like a work of art. I'm so happy that we got it done. You know who else is going to be happy?
No.
Who's going to be happy?
Also no.
Dad. He's
No.
going to be super happy that we tackled it and we left him out of it, right? He
No.
is going to be thrilled.
No.
So many of my projects require him, at least a little bit of him, to help me out.
Mom.
Sometimes a whole lot of him
Mom,
to help me out.
but
So
I feel-
anyway, you want to film?
I have filming.
Okay.
Here's a letter. See you next time.
A few days ago, this is actually the list I made. So pull weeds and rocks, check. The kids, well, I haven't even gone to see how it looks, but anyway, the kids did that. 1,500 weeds they pulled. Black fabric, check. Plant zinnia seeds. Plant parsley and basil. I don't even know if it's too late for that for my area, but we're going to give it a try. Plant up. What does that mean? Plant up what? I don't know. Shepherd's hook. Trailing flowers in wire baskets. Front wire baskets. And raccoon. If you've been following along on the chicken predator saga, Peter caught a raccoon. It took a couple nights, but Peter caught a raccoon, and then the very next night he caught a second raccoon. So we disposed of those two animals, and hopefully, well, he's going to keep the traps. Well, we don't keep them set during the day, because if the chickens are, you know, wandering around, and then if Sugar is wandering around, we don't want anything happening there. But anyway, he is going to reset them each night. I think we're going to do 2 more nights, and I guess it depends. If we don't get anything for 2 nights, then that'll probably be the end of the trapping. And if we do get something, you know, then we'll probably just keep it going, because why not? Let's get rid of those raccoon. There are just so many around, and they just cause problems. And as Sam said this morning, he's like, you know, if we don't get rid of some of those raccoon around here, they are going to try to destroy the garden. And he is right about that. I wanted to show you, you know, yesterday I picked up some shepherd's hooks, which maybe I did not, maybe I didn't get any video of that at the hardware store, but anyway, I found 2 shepherd's hooks. One that is a double, it's kind of like here and here, and then I found a single. I'd been wanting some extra shepherd's hooks anyway, because I had some other hanging baskets that I've saved from other years. Let me just show you here. These are some of these wire hangers here with, sometimes they call these coconut mats. Oops, this is gonna blow away. Alright, so we're going to put this lobelia in here, and then all 4 of these petunias. I have a fanny pack on, if you're wondering, like, what is that that's around her waist? It helps me. I can carry my phone in there, because I really don't like to put my phone in my pocket. And then I also can keep, like, my camera in there when I'm not using it, an extra battery, some chapstick, my sunglasses. I can just keep that on hand. This was just sent to me from Emerging Green. I've mentioned this before, that I get items sent to me, just random items show up in my P.O. box. They're not sponsored videos. They didn't pay me to say any of this. They just sent me something for free in the mail, and I know that what they're looking for is for me to try it out and tell you how awesome the item is and link to it at Amazon and all the good things, right? Which, that's what I'm going to do. I'll put a link in the description box below for these. They come as a set of 3, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they're about $30 for a set of 3, which is a fine price. When I was looking one day at Walmart, I want to say they were like $12.97 a piece for this size basket, and at the hardware store where I was yesterday, they were $9.99. So very reasonably and similarly priced to the stores, and it's a set of 3. So last year I bought some that were much more decorative than this, that I have hanging on my front porch. But these I just want to decorate out here. I'm in my kitchen so much, and or we are hanging out on the patio so much in the summer, that I like this area over here to have a lot of flowers and just be pretty. It draws in birds, butterflies. I'm going to say hummingbirds, which is a type, which is just a species of bird, but the hummingbirds it attracts in. Well, I'm finally going to get this homemade fertilizer a try. It's supposed to be similar to Miracle Grow, even though that's not what I normally use. I thought I'd like to just give it a try because this would be far less expensive than the Tiger Bloom that I have been using for, I don't even know how long. So long. So long. Okay, so what I have to do is in a jug of water, whoops, there's a little too much in here. So to a gallon of water, I have to add a tablespoon of Epsom salts, a teaspoon of baking soda, and just a half teaspoon of ammonia. All right, I'm just gonna give that a shake. I think that stuff's gonna dissolve pretty quick in there. And these petunias in the wheelbarrow here, these are the ones that I am going to reserve for this homemade fertilizer. And what's exciting, and I hope that this fertilizer doesn't kill them, is that they are all starting to finally bud out. When I put them in here, I honestly didn't even know what color they were because they were just kind of like random leftovers from all the other little containers, and none of them had even a bud on them. For the remaining flowers, I'm going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons. I don't measure. I just sort of splash into a gallon jug of water. And my normal fertilizing schedule throughout the summer for flowers, like anything in a pot, basically, even herbs if they're in a pot, would be Mondays and Thursdays, so twice a week. Anything that's in the ground, like my vegetable garden, and I typically plant 1 row of flowers in my vegetable garden. I also only fertilize those once a week. And I have some pots that are waiting. Look at that one. Droopy. It's so dry. I needed to do it this morning, but I just had to get the garden, like the vegetable garden, done. And I thought they're going to have to just deal with a little drought. And no matter what, even if you think you're coming right back to your jug of Tiger Bloom, always put the cap on it. Trust me on that one. Just put the cap on every time you're going to walk away from it. And for plants that are pretty dry, what I'll usually do is give them 1 watering with the fertilizer, and then I'll come back through and I'll give them a second watering just to be sure that they really get nice and saturated. So I'm just going to look over the seeds that I do have. I wanted to plant parsley, but now I'm looking at the seed packet and it says they should soak overnight, and then also it's going to take 21 to 28 days for germination. So that puts us at mid-June, and then if it takes at least, I would say it's going to take at least another month for it probably to get to a size where I'm going to start picking off of it, which takes me to mid-July. I suppose it's still doable. Okay, now talking through it, it seems like it's doable. I'm going to look through. I was hoping that I had some zinnia seeds, but I am not seeing any. Maybe I just need to dig a little bit more. Nope, those are not zinnias. Nope, no. So no zinnias. So I do have some Sweet Williams here, so maybe I'll give those a try. All right, I decided to just forego the soaking, and we're just going to give it a try. I'm going to really saturate the soil here, and we're just going to give this a try with the parsley. All right, this front antique pot, I can't remember. I knew at one point what this was used for. Anyway, that's where I put the Sweet Williams. So I know that they're supposed to come back year after year, but I just didn't have a great spot for them right now, and I thought I'm just going to give it a try. I only paid $1/4 for the packet of seeds, and you know, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens here. So this will be kind of a fun spot. It gets a lot of afternoon sun, so it should be a fun spot to just watch and see what grows. Okay, done. I don't have any zinnia seeds. Parsley is planted. I thought I had basil as well, but I don't have any basil. Plant up whatever. I'm thinking that meant plant up the pots that I hang on the front porch. And I'll show you those right now here. I'm not sure if this is good lighting or anything, but I put, that was called something like a like a Sensational Susie, I think was the name of the petunia, and then we have the white lobelia, and then an English ivy. And I did that in each one of these pots. Last year I put like purples and whites, and it was, oh, and yellow, purple, white, and yellow. It was so pretty. Like come mid-July, it was just gorgeous. So anyway, I look forward to watching this grow. And then let's look at this list again. Shepherd's hook, put that up. Trailing flowers in the wire baskets. That must have just been a reminder for me to make sure I did that. Front wire baskets. Okay, well that's the front wire baskets there. So I don't know what that plant up was for. And then the raccoon. Yes, and Peter took care of that for us already. All right, well that wraps up for today. Right when I start, Joe's like, I'm going to play some basketball. I hope that this gave you guys all just a little encouragement and a little inspiration to get out there and plant something. Whether it's in the ground, whether it's in a pot, you know what, just plant something. It's so fun to watch things grow, and we will see you. I will pop a couple other videos. Are they going to go over your face or my face?
Mine.
I'll pop a couple other videos up here on someplace around us, and maybe you'd want to go check out those. There'll be gardening videos from 2021. Say see you later.
Support it. See ya.